Hey, you found it. It's the activatethemagic.com is the website for our guest today, Jacki Leahy. I started with your branding. We're not even going to do the human first AI marketing podcast this time. We're not going to talk about Avenue 9 and the marketing that we do for people. Just go to activatethemagic.com. You can find Jacki Leahy, who is the head of go-to-market there, and she's using all kinds of AI tools to conjure revenue and catapult careers in the go-to-market space and developing revenue, which I find fascinating. I've been in that world for the last 10, 15 years or so. And it's really interesting because I think this world is changing just like all of them are with AI. So before we get too far into it, Jacki, I want to ask you about how you kind of see this as a human first approach and help activate human sellers versus just these autonomous AI agents and robots that are available now.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I've customized my ChatGPT to like sound like me and think like me. And so at this point, like I'm using it for like grief counseling, life coaching, and also content ideation and like first drafting. So
And your ChatGPT give itself a name?
yeah, Sparky.
So you talk to Sparky regularly is what I'm hearing.
Oh yeah. Sometimes the tears are flowing, and I'm like, Sparky, what, because I told Sparky like what it is that I believe and what I think and how I see the world and put things into context. So when something pops up, that's who I want to be when it comes up. So, but instead of having to like self-coach, I have Sparky, who is myself. So it's like an extension of my consciousness.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I love it. And I think that is a human first approach there. Definitely. That we need to take care of you and keep your mental health going so that you can do all the other things we need you to do as a human too, which I think, unfortunately, a lot of businesses miss. That, a happy, healthy, productive person who is inspired produces like 10 to 100 times more than somebody that doesn't. There's actually studies on sales. I did research and wrote a book called Playful Humans, where happy sellers sell like 7 times more than people that don't, which, inherently it makes sense, but we don't think about that. So I love that you're starting with that lesson. Is number one is like, keep me and my head on straight.
Yeah. And because it's almost like it's like the cloud for my brain.
Yeah. You can just dump information
I don't have to
there
store
that you don't
everything.
have to remember other things and are hard to keep track of.
Yeah. So it does allow me to be present with what's exciting me, where my passion is leading me, because that's usually where I should be going, because it's more exciting. I'm being interested for a reason. So instead of having to like keep all of the things in my head and like write and blah blah, I just have this like offsite brain.
Yeah, an outsourced brain.
That, and so I can be like the Jacki that I really want to be.
Yeah. I like that. Now let's talk a little bit about the business and how does it help you be a better seller, marketer, go-to-market strategist?
Of course. So I see career as my medium of self-expression. Like sculptors have clay, right? Musicians have guitars or pianos. I have career. Yeah. Like that's truly how I find out more about myself, feel like I'm expressing myself. That's weird. Like I am. So the AI and stuff, yes, it absolutely is helping me. Both, so I can be my best and also produce like phenomenal work with ease and just, like flow, ease, using it to set me and my clients or prospects or employees up for like, the human experience.
I think that's really great. And especially the flow and ease part. Again, I think so many people discount like what the magic is for you, and how you make a difference, and how you express yourself, and all of the other stuff, specifically for sellers and things, all the other stuff we have to do that is not talking to clients.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a ton about that. And we're going to have another friend of mine on, Jordan Ledwin, the AI sales guy, that he talks about how to do all of that from a very technical perspective. But for you work as like fractional RevOps, so doing sales and stuff for other people, which I imagine you get into a lot of things where you need systems and processes in place and to be able to replicate it through other people. And that's sort of the challenge now. So I guess when you're looking at that for other companies, how do you think about what can we automate with AI tools and processes, and set, things up to run the same for every client, versus what is the magic that we're trying to activate and that we need humans to do, and is the magic of your company, versus things that are maybe solely human. It's going to be a big heavy lift, and we need people on board to do that.
Yeah. So I'm building Activate the Magic. We are the fractional RevOps agency for B2B tech startups from 0 to 10 million. So really that go to market fit sprint. Very 0 to 1, very like build it, figure it out sort of thing. And how this year has really been pivotal for how I approach what it is that I do / we do. We're a team of 12, and really evolving from kind of like individual people working on projects to like a unified system, a way of doing things, collaborating. So yeah, there's a lot of internal shifting and tooling and process defining. Which is super meta, because that's exactly what we do for our clients, right? Specifically with Salesforce and HubSpot and anything that hits it. But in general, here's what's different going into 2025 is we can no longer predict. Right? So what used to be best practices, here's the how-to guide. Up until now, I have had complete career security because I knew how to do cold outbound, right? And like my claim to fame, the whole reason I'm able to have my own agency is the last tech startup that I was in house with was Link Squares in Boston. I was hire number 10, brought on to build the business development program. And in 2 years, we went from 350K ARR to 9 million, 0 marketing hire, just like sheer cold outbound. And this was 2018, right when outreach was like hitting the streets, right? And so it became, oh, you do this and then we learn things and we iterate, but it was very, it didn't change the guide. It didn't change the whole playbook. It was just iterating best practices. Oh, actually, we're going for shorter subject lines. Oh, actually, the first 10 words. So like optimize for the first 10 words of your email. Like all of those little things, it's no longer that. It's now like I literally have no idea what the tech landscape will look like in 6 weeks. Like
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with all these AI changes, is that it's so fast. I think for people that most of the people listening have probably experienced this, but if they haven't, the changes in the last 18 months as far as like spam and agents is just crazy. But then that also means there's tools to filter out the inbox, and Apple just released a new update for their inbox to split things into tabs, and Google's had that for a while, and spam blockers, and just like in college, they're working on like, plagiarism checkers and ChatGPT checkers to see if the student actually wrote the program. But then there are programs designed to break the checkers so that you can run your AI thing through another AI to have it change the algorithm and rewrite it in a way that breaks the plagiarism checker. And I think we're in this massive escalation, especially with cold outreach, that it's just become overwhelming.
Yeah.
The amount of spam has changed the game, and people are just kind of tuning out all of it, and they assume it's not a person.
Right.
Now, really, is that fair?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And so something really funny happened like 2 months ago where um, I had the opportunity to someone who had been working for me for 2 years on like a part-time basis. I was able to get him full-time to own client delivery, right? And his right hand is starting full-time on Monday. So with that wrong handled, I really needed to take my hands out of that pie and focus on building pipeline and sales, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically do the job that I've been supporting.
Right. Yeah.
And newsflash to me, it is harder than I thought.
It's harder to do it for yourself than it is for somebody else, which is the craziest part of it. And I always feel like I have to apologize for my own marketing, because you're like, you're a marketing agency? What is the, it's like, well, I got clients to take care of. I'm trying to make sure their stuff looks awesome. I'll worry about mine last.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
that's the way it always works.
Yeah.
But when you do it for yourself, you realize how hard that challenge is and why you need experts on the sales and marketing side to help you out, because it's really hard to kind of read the label from inside the bottle. Like you just can't see what your magic sauce is sometimes.
And here's the thing about, like, I named myself head of GTM, right? At Activate the Magic. Let's go in. Let me put on that whole costume. Let me be this person to crack it and figure it out. And it's super confronting, right? Because everything that used to work is go cold outbound email. Full stop is no longer a viable go-to-market strategy.
Well, from the marketing side, and I want to hear more about that. From the marketing side, it's SEO. This year alone, search traffic from Google has dropped by 50% or more across the internet. People are finding their answers on ChatGPT in Perplexity, and they're not ever clicking to the websites. They're getting the answers read to them, so they're not visiting your site and stuff. So in that world, the whole game has changed. If you were spending, hundreds of thousands of dollars to rank number one for a search term or something, like, it's gone. There's no traffic even to number one or number three.
This is precisely what I want to talk about. Like, the playbooks are out the window, but what isn't is your genuine human curiosity, right? Like, okay, well, everything I know about how to generate pipeline so I can eat, because I am no longer being paid from the labor budget, I gotta get and everything I knew how to get there is no longer, it's extinct.
Yeah.
With a DT at the end, extinct. And so, but what isn't extinct is my passion for figuring it out how to do that, right? Looking at it as a system. I'm a big proponent of like theory of constraints. So what is my biggest constraint right now? And when I first looked at it, I was like, all right, I got a 1 in 4 close rate from discovery to client. All right. So I think that's a fine conversion ratio.
Pretty good.
But so the constraint was discovery meetings, right? So that's awareness. And now how do I do that without my go-to Apollo or whatever that I'm like, oh, I could do this. I get click, I get, can't do that. So luckily, someone that I've been friends with for years was kind of coming to the same realization at the same time and building a tool. It's called Teamfluence. I'm an official advisor now.
Nice.
Yeah. And so what we're doing, or what he's doing, and I'm like salivating and using it and like making a new playbook around, is reverse engineering how like the genuine people use LinkedIn. Like, not the bots, but like the genuine people. How do I actually use LinkedIn, and how do I make that more efficient?
It's hard. I wanted to jump in there because even again for the marketing side of things for like this podcast is the algorithms have gotten so good and they're so like self-serving for the social networks now. They're really not leaving any meat on the bone for the
Mm-mm.
content creators that if you post a link to this on YouTube and you post it in your post on LinkedIn, they're just not showing it to anybody. They don't want to send their traffic to YouTube. That's a competitor of theirs. So if you even try to instantly go for a conversion, say like a marketing conversion, you can't direct them anywhere.
No,
It's not going to work. Nobody
no.
is going to see that post. Nobody's going to click on it, and nobody's filling out the form. So then the question becomes, like you said, and I loved your philosophy on it, is what do real people do? And could you have a conversation with somebody that spurred them to say, "Oh, where's your podcast? I'd love to hear more about it." And then they go and they search for, the Human First AI Marketing Podcast on whatever app they use. And that's the other thing is like all these tools are so different now that you can't just send somebody to YouTube because maybe they get their podcast on Spotify, or if they're on Apple, it's iTunes. And so there's no one link to send to everybody anyway. Or it's going to be in their new AI algorithm, and they're not even going to ask any sort of app. They're asking Siri to play it, or they're asking Google, or they are developed their own Sparky GPT, and they're going to say, Sparky, pull up the latest, Avenue
Yeah.
9 podcast. And so that's what's fascinating is I think it's actually a revert back to old school of like, how do we hand-to-hand combat, go build relationships and slow down enough to actually connect with somebody than to just automate this whole process, because the automation things are not working.
So I want to explore what you just brought. And I think there's two distinct problems, right? The first one is getting on somebody's feed.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is getting them to take action and actually booking them, like converting them.
Right.
Right. So let's tackle them separately. Getting on the feed, like, I think we need to become problem aware that this is actually a problem, right? It is no longer publish and it pushes to people. And like 10 years ago when I started being a content creator on LinkedIn, like it would go to everybody, right? I didn't have to really work on my hook and like people would comment. Now every post is an audition to get on the feed.
Yeah.
So why do we audition to get our own stuff on the feed? I'm specifically talking about LinkedIn, but I do think it's relevant to other platforms. I'm just not native to them. But
yeah, same.
Here's my hot tip.
Hot take alert.
Hot take.
I need an alert.
Okay. So the number one driver of new business via LinkedIn is going to happen in the DMs, right? Oh yeah, let's chat. Here's my Calendly link. Off we go, right? So how do we get there? What's the number one driver of DMs?
I don't know.
Profile views.
Ah, interesting.
And if you think about it, my LinkedIn profile gets far more traffic than my marketing website. But where do I spend energy? Iterating on, right? And it's not even close. Like we actually have the research behind it. It's not even close. So
yeah.
So if you add up everyone on your team, add up all of those profile views versus your marketing site.
Yeah. I think that happens a lot. And here's why I think it, and for me and my agency's philosophy, it's human first, is that I can't tell you, I had the question twice in the last 24 hours about, should I start a LinkedIn company page? And my answer was no. nobody cares. Nobody wants to connect with a company. Like, you're doing logistics. Nobody cares about the latest packaging logistics, information you're gonna share. They care about you. They care about your founder, what's going on in your life,
Exactly.
right? We connect with humans first, and then if we happen to be a client or we happen to care about the company or the industry, then maybe we'll follow what your company has to say or your post. But very few people, and very few of those are even getting to the feed. But why would you waste time trying to connect real humans to a fake page for
I
an
mean,
organization, right?
let's work with biology. We are hardwired to connect with other humans and relate to them and their stories. And
so the same thing I was going for you is the same thing is true on your website. Is like, so many people ask me for case studies and stuff in marketing too, and I found out some cool ways to do it by interviewing your clients and featuring them in videos and stuff. But I'm assuming if you're putting a case study on your website, it's going to say you did a great job and got them a great ROI. Like, I've never seen a case study that says like,
really messed that one up.
They spent $100,000 and they did not get one lead.
No.
It was a disaster. So if that's true, then what you're seeing is this curated, polished kind of front door that's fake news, and we don't have time for fake stuff anymore. We just literally don't have the bandwidth, and we know that we can't trust it. So unless you can find some way to get independent reviews or other information that's real, or make it very personal in a way, like, then it just really is back to being like a digital business card for me. And so I'd rather connect with a human than see their business card.
Yeah. So I want to connect this back to getting LinkedIn DMs, because that's how we get business, right? So number one driver of DMs is profile views. Now, here's the tricky part. What do you think is the number one driver of profile views?
I am going to say commenting on somebody else's post.
Yeah. They already have a spot in the feed. They've done the hard work of stopping the scroll. That the user has clicked in to the comments, and so you don't have to do any of that. All you have to do is drop into that conversation, like you were at a networking event and you overhear something, and you're like, "Oh, actually, I have an experience with that." And of course you do, because you're a brilliant human with life experiences to share. And if you're doing that regularly, with basically people who have the audience of your primary persona. So mine is like a sales leader at a tech startup, big vision, doesn't know how, like technically how to do it. I want that person's eyeballs. So who do they look up to? They look up to Scott Leese, Kevin Dorsey, right? So I'm going to want to comment on theirs every day. At least 5 quality contributions on those thought leaders' posts every day. And you know what happens? You become a seasoned regular, right?
Yeah.
It's the name. It's go to network, but it's like people won't even open the email if they recognize your brand or your company. It's your name. Right. It is your name. So you really want to build that name recognition and that relationship with the content creator, sure, but their audience. So interacting with the other season regulars. You got Norm, you got Cliff, you got Woody, like
getting back to your everybody knows your name and Boston roots. Yes. I like the way you tied it together there.
Yeah,
but,
that was on purpose, Mike. I promise.
Because I think we're nailing the human first part. But I have 2 final questions for you. Number 1 is probably easy. What are some of your favorite AI tools, or do you even recommend using AI to help you write these comments, or then are we defeating the purpose and we're automating our magic again? What do you think? What's your take?
You can use it. So Teamfluence does have a feature where you can track those influencers that you do, so you don't have to like scroll. It's like a feed, or you can send it to Slack. And so you can click a button to like generate comment, but just use that as like a starting point. Just use that as a starting point. And you definitely want to like add value. Like, yeah. Of
Love
course.
that.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah, I think so, for sure. Do you have any other favorite AI tools?
I do. So of course, ChatGPT, Sparky, he's very important to me. So I've recently switched from read.ai as my meeting note taker to Fathom.
Nice.
A whole new world. It actually, if you are a sales leader or a marketer, like trying to glean insights from sales calls, it does an incredible job at giving you a meeting summary in whatever bant, spiced, whatever format. It will do that automatically. You can have it automatically populate tasks right in Salesforce or HubSpot. It truly does take like some RAM off.
Yeah.
Right. So you can be like, yes, of
Okay.
course, that is what the budget is, blah, blah, blah. And you can automatically populate fields. So then your marketers aren't being like, so what's the word on the street? Like, what's the insight? And some BDR is like, nobody likes this feature. It's like, you don't know anything. You're 2021. Let me actually.
One person said that, or you don't like the. Yeah.
You don't like that. It sounds like you were saying that yesterday about yourself. Anyway, but you can actually get the raw data, like the actual insights, and not have to work hard at all to get them. What?
Yeah, I love that. Okay, now we're going to end with, I think, the hardest question, which is if you project this out, say 5 years, and we're starting at 2030, what do you think the world of sales and marketing looks like?
Oh my goodness, 2030.
Yeah. Do we have AI robots selling other AI purchasing agents, and we're all on the beach? Have we?
Yeah.
Have we seen an AI apocalypse, and we're all going back to our roots of like local networking and trade shows, or somewhere in between? What do you think?
So, this is a specific talent, right? Being a futurist.
Yeah.
I do not have that talent, but I know people who do. So I asked this question to Siki Chen. He is an AI, one of those AI gurus. Love him, obsessed with him and how he thinks. So I asked him, I was like, what, like, universal basic income? Like, what does the future look like? And as someone who does see my career as my like self-expression, I'm like, no, I don't want to play piano. I want to configure Salesforce.
Yeah.
His response was, I don't know, but I think we can ask ChatGPT. We'll be able to ask AI. And he said, but here's the thing, humans will always find a way to create status.
That's interesting.
Right.
I like that. And that was going to be my follow-up question then is I don't think anybody knows where the tech is going. It could be full-on autonomous robots with intelligent brains, or it could be a slower evolution than that, and we could all just have these mini task bots.
Or the aliens could take over. Like
right. Yeah. I think
it's fine.
I think it's going to be cool. I think it's going to be more like Star Trek. I have an optimistic
exactly
version of the future.
Yeah.
But I did want to ask you what you think the role of maybe yourself or humans are in that AI future. What's the role of a human in a world with AI?
Discover more about ourselves. Connect more deeply with ourselves and the people around us, and look after each other.
Yeah. I think that's great. That's a perfect answer.
Yeah.
All right. So you have earned yourself a free 30-second commercial here for Activate the Magic, activatethemagic.com. Jacki Leahy is one of the founders and the head of go-to-market there. And I just, would ask you, how can you help us, or how can we help you?
Beautiful. Yeah. If you happen to be a go-to-market leader with a strong vision of what you want to do and how, like, where you want to go, and you really need a right-hand person or team to figure out how to make that happen, right? If you've got the what and the why, we've got the how, specifically technical expertise for the HubSpot and Salesforce ecosystems. We do fractional month-to-month packages, and you can check us out at activatethemagic.com. And I am always down for a friendly chat. Just DM me on LinkedIn.
Yeah, for sure. Jacki is a good follow there. She's got over 15,000 followers and stuff. So you can join the cool kids and be
Popular.
and chat on Jacki's or comment on
Yes,
her post.
you can absolutely comment on my posts. I will love you forever.
I love it. Thank you for joining us today, Jacki. And if you want to learn more about go to avenue9.com. You can find me, Mike Montague, on LinkedIn as well. Happy to connect and chat. What we're doing is high volume content and marketing. So I can interview your founder, your best salesperson, your best customer first, and then we can use that to create all the content that you need in your marketing funnel. And it works out really great, and it's been a super fun time. So until next time, good luck. Have fun, everybody.